So in the last video we saved the hashed password. In this video we will add some validations here. So whenever we are registering a user, what we want to check is whether is there another user with the same username that has been registered or not. So we will add that check here. We'll write a comment, check if username already exists, and for that we will simply write a query db.from user entity. So it's again a simple where query here. We'll select the users where user entity dot username equals to the username that we have received from the user credentials or in the body. So you have to import eq, and then we will map it and then we'll just say first or null. So if we have a user, this object will be a not null, otherwise it will be null. So we'll add a null check here. If user is not equal to null, so which means that a user already exists with the same username, so we will return back from here, and the status code will be bad request, and again node response success false, and data will be user already exists, please try a different username, and we will return from here. Okay, so we can try this. We can stop and run our server again and go to Postman. So we have already registered John Doe. If we go to our MySQL workbench, run our select star query, we see that we have a username called john.doe. So let's make a request with the same username, and you can see that it's a bad request. But if we say John Doe without the dot, now it's a success, and in our MySQL base you will see that we have now two users. And you also notice that though the password for both of them was the same, but this encrypted password is different. So that's how it the bcrypt library makes things easy for us to encrypt the password, but difficult to decrypt and get the plain text from this encrypted password. So now we have added the validation here. So if the user is null, then only we will perform these operations, right? And then we will instead of doing respond text, we will do the same thing. We will just say that it will be created. So this is a 201 status code, and return a node response with success equals to true, and data user has been successfully created, and we'll put this in a new line, both of them, right? So let's try rerun our server here. And go to Postman, and let's try make a request, and we'll get bad request. John Doe 1 user has been successfully created, and the status is 201. So one last thing that we want to do is we want to add some validation that our username and password are of correct length. So for that we will add another helper function in the user credentials data class. So what we will do is we'll create a function and name it is valid credentials, and this will return a boolean. And what we will do is we'll just do some simple checks here. So username's length is greater than equal to 3, and password's length is greater than equal to 6. So if this condition fails, then we wouldn't be able to make the request, or like the request will fail. So we'll go back again to the authentication router. So here, before we do any of these things, we'll simply add a check here. If user credentials dot is valid credentials, basically this condition is false, then we'll do call dot respond here and then again bad request, note response success equals to false, and data is username should be greater than or equal to 3. Let's add this in a new line, and let me copy paste. It's a long error message, so I'll just give some information to the user that which value is failing, and password should be greater than or equal to 8, and we will return from here. So let's try this. We'll go to our postman and send an empty username. So we got 400 bad requests, but we'll add the username, but we will empty a password, or even if we do password just 5 characters, this will fail. The moment we do this will work, but now if we try this will fail. And if we do JOH, that it should be equal to 3. So if we do Joe, that will fail. So now the registration endpoint is complete. So what we have done here is we have created our entity, then we have created our the data class that represents our body, then we have created our authentication route, and specifically the register route, where we are reading the values from the database, we are making sure that they are valid, and then we are just getting the username in lowercase and storing it in a variable here, and getting the hashed password. So for that we have created 2 helper functions in our user credential data class, right? And then first we check whether the user already exists in the database, and if it does, then we just send a bad request back as the response, and if it doesn't, we insert it in the database and tell the user that the user has been successfully created. And what we are doing is we are storing the password as the hashed password and not the plain text password. So that's all about registering a user. In the next few videos we will learn how to log in using the credentials of the user that has been registered. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will meet soon.